Good grief. Why do they never go in for me? Hi everybody, back again with another video. Yes, well, this is the start of a new series for me. So, I am going to do my top 100 albums. So, I'm going to show 5 albums at a time. And there aren't any particular rules, to be honest. I've got no limits on genre or no limits on age, no limits on how many artists in here. I've got no limits as to what kind of albums. They could be compilations, they could be live albums, they could be no greatest hits. I don't think that's probably, I don't know whether that's by design or not. There just doesn't seem to be any greatest hits in here. Doesn't matter about format. Could be anything. Could be tape, CD, vinyl. These are just my 100 favourite albums that I have heard. Obviously stuff I haven't heard can't be in there. So, and as per usual with these lists, this could change on any particular day. So this was, the way I did this was, I ranked at least 130 albums. I think at least 5 times I did it. And each time I gave each one a set of points. And over the 5 rankings, then these 100 got the most points. I don't know, I tried to do it over as wide as area time as I could, but well, it'd still be different. And I've still fiddled about with it ever since I actually did that. So yeah, and I also got the idea of doing 5 at a time from another channel. And I thought it would cut down on the viewing time, because I reckon I would spend at least far too much time doing 10 records at a time. So we're going to do 5 at a time and see where that gets us. Or maybe I'll step it up or whatever. Right, so having waffled away for the last, I don't know how many minutes with what I'm doing, here we go. So number 100 is an album that I actually only really heard for the first time a year or 2 ago. But it's an album that's immediately just sunk right in, and it's one of those albums I wish I'd heard much earlier in my life, because I think it is gorgeous. So that album is Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies. What a truly phenomenally beautiful record. So this is the 30th anniversary edition I've got here, which is the stereo and mono mixes. But I don't play everything the whole way through all the time. I just choose one or the other. I don't have a favourite between either of them. I just love the album. It is a beautifully created Baroque psychedelic pop record. So it's full of the most gorgeous ornamentation and the most sublime songs with some of the most bitter lyrics. I mean, I think I like a lot of music like this, where the music is absolutely gorgeous and then the lyrics are quite pointed or barbed or just at odds with the feeling of the music. I mean, things on here like Care of Cell 44, which I think seems to be about madness. Things like Loss and Longing on here. What song is it? The Butcher's Tale, Western Front 1914. It's a horrendous tale of war, World War One, and what it does to people. Of course, it's got the big hit Time of the Season on here, which was really, it was a big hit in the States, but I don't think it was that. I think it was a hit over here, but I don't think it was as big as in the States. Beechwood Park is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, this is just a phenomenally gorgeous record. And really, I think it's not as well known as it should be. This is, if I'd known this longer, then it's quite possible it would have ended up much, much higher. It is that much of a brilliant record. So anyway, number 100, released in, when was it released? April 68. Odyssey and Oracle, the Zombies. Right, number 99. Right, when I said that there were no rules and there'd be a live album, I think there's only one, and it's this one. Some of you might be surprised that I think this is the only Big Star album I've got in the 100. Some of you might be surprised that I've chosen this one over things like Radio City and Number One Record. Obviously, Third, Sister Lovers is a phenomenal record. But this, to me, this is just so much fun to listen to. That's why I like this one. It just, there's a joy to it. I think even that curmudgeon Alex even enjoyed himself on this. Old Mr. Chilton. It is an absolutely fabulous, fabulous performance. I think when I showed this on a Wodge, I said I've had the CD for 20 years, and it is definitely my favourite live album, and probably one of the albums that I've played most. It's one of those comfort albums. I think there was a thread going around like about comfort albums, and this is a comfort album. It just lifts my soul as soon as I put the first notes on. Such a fantastic record. So this was released in, when was it? September 93. Quite aptly September for a Big Star album, but there you go. So Complete Columbia, or Columbia, live at the University of Missouri by Big Star. Number 99. Right, number 98. Yeah. Now this lot seem to divide people now, which I think is a shame. Because I think their first two albums and their first slew of singles are just untouchable, to be honest. And even their big hit album has got its moments. But anyway, number 98 is A Northern Soul by The Verve. So released in, June 1995. So this is probably the last proper Verve band album that was recorded. So it's their second, because they immediately split up just after release of this. I think it might have been this. They did release 3 singles off here, and it was after the third single, History. They basically broke up. So I think it might have gone into, was it 1996 that they eventually? No, I think they did split up in 95. But anyway, when they reconvened, it was basically an Ashcroft solo album. So I consider this to be the last true Verve album. And this is fantastic stuff. It's kind of a record of two halves, really. You've got a real blast in the rock first half. You've got New Decade, which is a phenomenal opener. This is Music, which has got fantastic guitar riff on it. The Lush, On Your Own, which is kind of a precursor of their acoustic stuff that they became known for later. A Northern Soul, and then you've got a instrumental interlude. Then you've got a kind of more laid back, funky side. Funky? Yeah, it's almost funky. Things like Drive You Home, the Blake paraphrasing History, which is one of my favourite singles of all time. Things like Life's an Ocean and Stormy Clouds. Nick McCabe's guitar playing on this is lush. It's absolutely lush. It's dreamy, elegant, fantastic guitar playing. And I think that's what gets lost in the Verve. When you think of them now, you just think of them as a mouthpiece for Ashcroft, but they were more than that. I mean, I like Richard Ashcroft's stuff, but the Verve were always at their best. More than that, they sort of really took off. They were a rocking band, and they were just a complete unit. When you hear Simon Jones and Pete Salisbury's bass and drums on things like Nice and Ocean and No Knock on My Door, they could get a groove together, and the whole band just took off. I only saw them live once, and that was on a perfectly hot summer's day at Glastonbury in '93. Before they recorded any of this stuff, and they were phenomenal then. And this album is phenomenal. I wish I'd seen them live on this tour. Absolutely fantastic. That showed both sides of the Verve off to absolute T. Love that album. So there we go. Number 98 is the Verve, A Northern Soul. Right, 97. Released in June '84. We're going back to the 80s for this one, but this is no 80s pop record. This is big music. So we've got the Waterboys, A Pagan Place. This. Now, when did I first get into this? So this was. I first heard this when I first went to uni in 1987. So I went to the uni in London the first time I went, and I just remember this and the first Waterboys album being played an awful lot in people I knocked about with. One particular group of people I knocked around with. This, such a fantastic record. So this was the first Waterboys album that Carl Wallinger played on. It's their second overall. This truly is the big music, and I think it's a much better album than This Is a Sea. Things like Church Not Made with Hands, All the Things She Gave Me, Red Army Blues is a fantastic song about the story of a soldier in the Second World War and how he got dumped on by the Russian government, marched to the Ukraine. It's a very spiritual record, but unlike the first Waterboys album, it's not overtly religious. It's more about spirit and nature, and a lot of it is quite. A lot of my favourite albums, the lyrics are quite dour, so this is quite a lonely record. Things like Somebody Might Wave Back, all about riding trains and waving at people and just connecting. So it's that lack of connection that seems to drive the record. I don't know what old Mike Scott was on at the time, but the music on this is just builds and swells, and it is big music. It is fantastic. Turn it up and just lose yourself in it. And that's what I like about this album. It's such a beautiful, beautiful album. Right. Okay. 96. More 80s. Of course there's going to be loads of 80s. That was the decade I was a teenager. But it's it's not your typical pop. So 96 is infected by the another bleak, cynical, skeptical record. But again, the music is fantastic. Music is uplifting and joyous, but the lyrics are just, again, dour and overtly pessimistic. So this record I first heard as a video album. Matt Johnson recorded this as a set of videos, and I remember it being shown late night on Channel 4 in 1986. All 8 tracks were shown. I think I've still got the videotape. I'm going to have to dig that out, see if I've still got that. Maybe apt for the time that this video is being recorded. But yeah, things like Heartland, where it's basic. Heartland could be written a lot about now. Nothing's changed. 20, how old is this? 30 years ago, nothing has changed. We're still enthralled to the States. We're still poverty-stricken. Nothing changes. Nothing ever changes, which is kind of depressing, really. And then equating love with an infection. A whole record full of deception. Yeah, but the music is absolutely brilliant, and his delivery of the whole album was fantastic. I think he kind of had a bit of a nervous breakdown during the making of this, especially the video album, because I think it took him quite a while to come back for the next album. I've forgotten which one it is. Is it Beaten Generation, I think, is the next one, but fantastic album. Absolutely fantastic. So there we go. The first 5. Done that fairly quickly, just about 15 minutes, or just a bit over, including all the blurb at the beginning. So I am going to try and keep on top of these and try and get as much done as quickly as I can, so that you're not waiting around for these for ages. So thanks everybody for watching to the first instalment of my Top 100, and I hope you'll join me again soon. Cheers everyone. Bye.